too, and you deserve some of the value. Also, don't let a trade-in damage your negotiating power. Try to keep the negotiating about the trade-in separate from your negotiations about the purchase price of the new car. Buy a car, make a visual inspection. When shopping for a used car, it is important to be able to recognize the signs of a potential lemon. A visual inspection can be enough to steer you away from a bad deal. It should not replace a proper inspection by a qualified mechanic, but the visual inspection can tell you if you should continue to that point. The first thing to consider is whether the odometer is reasonable. The average car is driven about 15,000 miles each year. Now the world may be filled with little old ladies who only used their car to drive to church on Sundays, but there are also those who will roll back the odometer to try to get a higher price. If the mileage seems low, check to see if the dashboard shows any sign of tampering, like scratches or missing or mismatched screws. Check the wear of the driver's seat and floor mat as well as the steering wheel and pedals. Does the amount of wear seem to match the reported mileage? Try to find an oil change sticker and see if the information on it matches the odometer. Every vehicle has a unique VIN, or vehicle identification number. You can use this number to obtain a vehicle history report. This report will be able to tell you the vehicle's complete history, including its place of assembly, accident, repair, and odometer history, whether the vehicle has been leased or used as a rental car or taxi, and whether there is a lien placed against it. Before purchasing the report, however, it is a good idea to check to see if you have the correct VIN. The VIN can be found in 3 places: on the vehicle registration card, on the bottom of the windshield on the driver's side, and on the manufacturer's label, which is usually found on the driver's side door or door jamb. Check that the VIN is in all 3 places and is the same. Also, check to see if any of the labels show signs of tampering. A missing or altered VIN is a sign that the vehicle may be stolen. Next, you should look for signs that the vehicle has had bodywork done. These signs include paint splatter or overspray in the seams between panels, areas where the paint doesn't match or feels rough to the touch, and bumps, dents, or ripples in the paint. Recent bodywork is evidence that the car has been in an accident. Other things you should look for in a visual inspection include signs of rust, leaking fluids, and excessive tire wear. Tires may be expensive to replace, especially immediately after purchasing a vehicle. Also check the condition of the interior. Make sure that the lights and signals have not burned out, and that all the switches and fittings work as they are supposed to. Your goal in doing a visual inspection should be to find that the vehicle appears to have been properly maintained. If everything looks good at this point, you can ask to take the vehicle to a mechanic for a proper inspection. Buy a car, the test drive. The test drive is an important part of the car buying experience. It should come later in the process, after you make sure that the vehicle is suitable for your needs and within the price range you have set for yourself. Avoid taking a more expensive vehicle for a test drive, as this is just another sales tactic for trying to get you to spend more money than you want. When test driving a vehicle, there are 2 areas you should be considering. Is the car in good condition? Is it the right car for you? To ensure that the vehicle is in good condition, make sure you do the test drive in different conditions, from quiet residential streets to city traffic, the highway. Check to see that the vehicle starts immediately and idles smoothly, that the transmission shifts smoothly throughout the entire range of gears, and that the brakes should feel firm and not spongy. The steering should be smooth and responsive at different speeds. Listen for any unusual rattles or other noises. Does the vehicle vibrate at highway speeds? Get a friend to drive behind you. See if blue smoke comes out of exhaust. This is a sign that you are burning oil, indicating leaky gaskets and a potential need for an engine overhaul. In order for this to be the right car, you have to feel comfortable in it. Ask yourself if you could drive it easily in traffic, and not be intimidated by its size or performance. Make sure the seat and steering wheel can be adjusted so that they fit you, and that you can easily reach all of the controls, including radio and climate controls. Check the sight lines and the rear view mirrors. Are you comfortable with your views? Are the blind spots of a reasonable size? If you buy a car in which you don't feel comfortable, you will soon hate your purchase. Try out the climate control and audio systems. Does the fan work, and is the air conditioning effective? What is the quality of the audio system like? Consider taking a CD with you so that you're not reliant on the radio to test the audio system. When buying a car from a dealership, the salesman will often want to accompany you on a test drive. It is better to try to take the test drive without a salesperson, as you can then concentrate on the feel of the car and not the sales pitch. If you appear to be a serious buyer, the salesperson will generally allow you to take the car out without them, unless you're young. In that case, consider taking a parent or older adult with you in order to convince the salesperson to let you take the car out without them. The test drive should confirm whether a car that you thought was suitable before actually is. Try not to let it become a chance for a salesman to continue his pitch while you are distracted by the feel of a new vehicle. Buy a car. Tips for negotiating. A car salesman sells cars every day. The average car buyer buys a new or new-to-them car 4 times in their life. Who do you think has the advantage? When you go into the dealership, after having looked at a few cars, you will probably first be greeted politely and told to ask if you have any questions. The salesperson will leave you to look around for a bit, and then reappear if you seem to be ready. You will be offered coffee and soda. It will be very pleasant and nice. But just because the car salesperson is nice, does not mean that you have to be nice. Be polite but firm, and you will get better results. Many people want to appear nice, and thus aren't as specific or persistent as they should be. Ask questions. Know how much the car costs, and what goes into the cost of the car. Some fees, such as the destination charge, are non-negotiable. These are set by the manufacturer. Others, such as the prep fee, you may find questionable. Ask about any fees, what they are for, and why they are charged. Don't let charges get slipped into the price. If the price jumps, ask why. Stay focused on the price. Do not let yourself be distracted by trade-in values, fees, or financing. It may be best, when the salesperson asks if you are planning on trading in your current car, to hedge. Say you haven't decided yet, if you might be trading it in. Also, stay focused on the actual purchase price. Many people will pay more if the price is presented to them in monthly installments. In fact, it may be best to shop around to your bank and other financial institutions for a car loan. Make sure your appearance does not belie your words. If you show up at the dealership driving an expensive car and wearing an expensive suit, it will be difficult for your salesperson to believe that you cannot afford the car if they keep the $50 prep charge. Be prepared to walk away. Even if you really like a car, if the salesperson knows you have to have it, and in that exact color, they will not go to as much effort to keep you interested. Be prepared to go home and mull it over. Negotiations can sometimes get very intense and high pressure. You may need to take a break and think in order to come to the best deal, and in order to see the whole picture. Don't let buying your car become a massively complicated task. Get your salesperson's business card, and the quote you've come to so far on paper. If the salesperson says that the price is only good for that day, ask them why. If it's because of a manufacturer's incentive, maybe you should just go for lunch and come back later. If it's because of something their manager says, try calling their bluff. Say you're sorry, but you really do need to discuss this purchase with your spouse, family, chihuahua, and if the price actually will disappear, then you won't waste their time in coming back. The most important thing to do in negotiations is to stay calm and firm. Don't tell the salesperson a range for what you are willing to spend, as the salesperson will then choose the number at the top of the range. Choose a price you are willing to pay, and stand there. Even if you are willing to pay more, keep saying that number when asked. Keeping focused on what is important to you will allow you to navigate the confusing path towards getting the best car price. Buy a car, what not to do. There are a lot of important considerations when buying a car, and a lot of things you can do to make it easier for yourself. There are also a lot of things you shouldn't do, either because it will mess up your negotiations, or could end up more directly costing you money. Don't let your car buying be an emotional choice. Just because your Uncle Bob is selling a car, and hey, you need a car, does not necessarily mean that Uncle Bob's old car is your best choice. Uncle Bob may have smoked. Uncle Bob may have driven a car big enough to fit your high school soccer team. Don't give out your personal information. Especially if you are buying a car from an individual who is selling their old car, all they need is for you to fill out the information on the transfer papers. If they are concerned about your check, go to the back and have a certified check done. At the car dealership, they only need numbers like your social security number if they are going to be doing your financing, and then only once you have actually agreed to buy the car. When negotiating, don't talk too much. Once you make your offer, let it sit. Wait for them to say something. This can be difficult, as you may feel the urge to add something onto your offer, such as, or maybe we could go a bit higher, when the salesperson doesn't say anything,